I am looking here at Max, a really interesting photograph and drawing of a calculator that was embedded apparently in some crustacean or rock, and they x-rayed it. And there are gears throughout this rock. What do you think that was? Was that a watch of some sort?
Well, it's an astrolabe. It's an astrolabe. It's actually a celestial calendar. It's a navigational device used for tracking the stars and tracking ships. Much, much more complicated than any astrolabes that we have today. It's actually one of my favourite devices. That's the Antikythera device. And it's absolutely incredible. That was one of the first devices that got me into all of this sort of stuff. It was found about 100 years ago. And it's absolutely incredible. It's so old and it's so complicated. And the thing about it, it's obviously been made by a machine. It's very, very fine parts, and it's been machined. So that also indicates that there was a machine around to make this thing. This is at least 1,000 years ago, and we're talking very, very complex lathes and all sorts of things that you'd need to create this device, because it's very machined. And it's absolutely amazing device. One of my favourite.
Yes, mine too. But it's hard to choose among all this. You also bring up some buildings and civilizations like the Inca and Mayan walls. But here, this one that I'm looking at is a beautiful aerial photograph of a place called Baalbek. I think that's
Baalbek. Yeah, that's in Lebanon. It's absolutely incredible, that place. Baalbek is the ruins of the Temple of Jupiter, which we're told was a Roman temple. But it wasn't built by the Romans. They came and built a temple on a huge platform that was already there. And it's actually mentioned in Sumerian texts and all sorts of stuff. There's every indication that it was a landing platform or some sort of space platform, like for rockets to take off, something like that. Massive, absolutely massive foundations. There's a group of stones there called the Trilithon, my favourite stones of all time. I absolutely love these things. These things are 800 tons each. These are the largest cut stones anywhere in the world, and absolutely incredible. And they're placed 26 feet high in a wall. So not only did they transport them there, they lifted them up and put them 26 feet high in a wall. It's just impossible. I've said that I'll give everything I own. I'll give every money that I can make for the rest of my life. I'll donate it to anybody who can move one of those stones with our modern technology. It simply can't be done. We do not have the technology to move these things. And there's no road between the quarry and the temple. And there's another one in the quarry that's even bigger. There's another one in the quarry that's 1,000 tons. It's called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. And it is colossal. There's a picture in the book of about 30 or 40 people standing at the front of this thing, just to give you an idea of the size of it. It's absolutely enormous. And they moved these things to this temple. They built this huge temple, which is just basically this colossal platform. God knows what it was for, but it's just there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. There's no reason why the Romans should have gone and built this thing, and it's completely unlike any other Roman construction, so it's very, very doubtful the Romans built it. The Romans never built megalithic stone structures. They always used things like concrete. The Romans were very aware of concrete and cement and stuff like that, and that's what they used for most of their structures. You'll find that most old Roman ruins are actually made of concrete. Very, very ancient form of concrete, but concrete nonetheless. Baalbek is made of carved, solid bedrock. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible place.
Yes, it is, and it really gets you thinking. I'm looking here on page, it's 46, and you have some beautiful colored illustrations of Egyptians holding what looks like an electrical light bulb. I'm not sure, but I have come across some, and I haven't seen it. This is the first time I've seen batteries that have been made by the Egyptians, and that's on this page too.
Yeah, like a Leyden jar. Absolutely incredible. Those things that they've got, that they're holding in the tombs, they definitely do look like lights. They've got electrical cords coming out, going to a little device, and there's someone else there with cement carving tools. And when you look inside all the pyramids and all the Egyptian structures, they say they took torches in there and built them all like that. But there's no There's no carbon on the walls. There's no remnants of smoke anywhere that you get from torches. If they'd used flames to light the inside of these places as they were building them, there would be traces of carbon on the roofs and ceilings. You can't get away from that. There would have to be there. And there isn't. There's no traces of anything like that. So they had electricity. They took electric lights in there, and they used that to carve these things. Absolutely incredible. There's one in there as well the next thing I think it is a fossilized shoe print.
Yes, and I want to talk about that because it predates Nike for sure. When we get back, we'll talk about it. Let's take a little bit of a break. We'll come back for the last segment. Our special guest today is Max Egan from Australia, Queensland, to be more specific. They are having a wonderful summer right now, and he has written a most interesting book. It's called Earth's Forbidden Secrets, Searching for the Past. It's about 250 pages, and it's free, waiting for your mind to download this information because it is interesting. Don't go there to thecrowhouse.com if you are intellectually challenged or you have bought all the lies of the New World Order. Just don't do it. I can't tell you how terrible it might be for you. You would not sleep for years. Max, I am looking at these incredible and beautiful photographs of these crystal skulls. They have found these all over the world, have they not?
Yes, they have. There's one in particular that is more amazing than the others, which is, of course, the Mitchell Hedges skull, which was actually in Australia last month. I missed out on seeing it, unfortunately. Had I known it was here, but I didn't. But absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. The crystal skull, the Mitchell Hedges skull, really shouldn't exist. That's the scientific analysis of it. They've said it's a lot easier to explain it not existing than it is to explain it existing. It simply should not exist. They cannot find how it was made. They cannot make it now. Everything about it is remarkable. It's cut out of a solid piece of crystal. It's got a detachable jawbone, which is cut out of the same piece of crystal. It's cut across the axis of the crystal, which is almost impossible to do, even with laser cutting, because normally the crystal will shatter. There is no marks of any tools being used to carve this thing. No. Even the finest electron microscope can't find any scratches or sand marks or anything on the thing. It's absolutely incredible, that skull. It shouldn't exist, but it does. Amazing.
Yes, it does, and I'm looking right at it. And it has been around for several decades, has it not? And they've studied it under the microscope, all the experts, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They've taken it to all sorts of places to study this thing, and it just shouldn't exist. Hewlett-Packard have looked at it. They did all sorts of research on it. This thing's been said to give off aromas and smells. It's said to produce holograms inside. People have seen little scenes inside it. What we were talking about with the last interview when you said about objects recording their surroundings, this crystal skull records everything that goes on around it, and the person who is currently in possession of it just sort of takes it around the world. He says it tells him where it wants to go, and he takes it places and leaves it with people because it wants to do certain things. Very, very amazing stuff, the crystal skull. Apparently found by Mitchell Hedges' daughter, but that's very, very debatable as well, whether Anna Mitchell Hedges actually found it. Anna actually died a couple of years ago, unfortunately, so I never got a chance to talk to her about it. But absolutely incredible artifact. One of the most incredible artifacts ever found.
Yes, and, Max, when I get skeptics that come along and say, hey, you've got to prove the conspiracy, you've got to prove this or that if you want me to buy into it. Well, you know what? All I ask them to do is take a couple of these things. There are thousands of them, and just explain a couple, and I will shut up because this is incredible.